Well guys, here we are, our last day before Christmas for guitar. I'm going to do one more Christmas song here. We'll do Jolly Old St. Nicholas. I think this is about our 6th Christmas song. So this is actually way too many for you right now. Had you actually started in September or so, and this were really our 24th or 25th lesson, then this would be right in your wheelhouse to have done this many songs, probably starting in November and piling them up on you. As it is, I only started these videos about a month ago, so if you really started them with me then, you shouldn't be ready for this many. Possibly with a lot of practice you'd have a couple of them, but really you shouldn't be expecting yourself to have 6 of these Christmas songs down. The one advantage we have though, is that having this online, you don't have to wait 1 week for me to get back to you to add on to what you've already learned. If you like some of these songs, you could work on them over and over again, watch the video again, get the instruction over and over again, and not really wait for a week for the feedback. With all that said, let's take a look at this. Most of it's within the wheelhouse of a beginner guitarist after a couple of months, but there is a lot of stuff here to look at. First of all, the chords required. Again, if you're really a September student who's been playing for 3 or 4 months, we'd probably still be on the little version of C, maybe a little G7. I didn't label your G7 there, sorry. A minors and D7s are a possibility. If you do have A minors though, you can extend that finger out to the C. The A is the relative minor of C. C is the relative major of A minor, so they work well together. If you've got that C, then we can telescope it. The pointer goes to the 1st string, the ring finger and middle go down to the 6th and 5th strings instead of the 5th and 4th where they were in a C chord. Each one of those would be a practice that you would work on over a couple of weeks. A minor and C, C to G7, C to some form of F. I've written here the simplest one we can possibly do, which is the F major 7. Your pointer stays where it was in C. The middle finger goes from 4th to 3rd string, ring finger from 5th to 4th. And we can hit those 3 strings for an F. Those are the 3 that my fingers are on. If I include the top open string, it's okay, it's an F major 7 and it fits the context of this song, although it may be a little bit lush for it. If you can lay that finger down to cover 2 strings with that little bar, that's your complete F. If you'd come from C, you could add a pinky to the 4th string instead of move your ring finger there. Then move your middle finger to the 3rd. Then you have 4 nice strings in the middle for an F. You still have the option of laying that finger down. You have all those options in another lesson and you can look back to that one. Here I'll just leave you at the F major 7. Here's your guitar picture. Notice we have actually a fairly limited palette of notes here. We've talked about this before. We're in the key of C and we're starting below it on the G. The G is the 5th below C. In the key of C, if you count up C, D, E, F, G is number 5 in the scale. So number 5 in the scale here is located underneath the C. This is a nice way to play. We've seen before where we can start on that 5 and work our way back up to the key note, the C. You can run that scale portion, G, A, B, C, D, E, E, D, C, B, A, G. Your ear will want to get back to C's though. To read this, we can do all of our exercises. The first thing I would always ask you to do at this level is name all of the notes. That first guy is your Jingle Bells note. It's also your Ode to Joy note, so you'll recognize that no doubt by now as an E. We get a nice shot here of the scale. 4 E's, 3 D's, and 4 C's. We're coming down the scale. E's, D's, and C's. Jump back up to the E. In bar 5 here, we see the ant. We've got the antenna going up and the ant's head there. That's your A. Squish the ant with your finger. We have 4 of those. Below that immediately is the open G. You could find that by comparing it to the A or Every Good Boy Deserves Fudge from the bottom. Jumping back up to our C. There we have a really nice scale right in the first ending. Your belt goes in the middle of the staff, so there's your B, and you see it's just going stepwise. B, C, D, E, and back down to D. So that one's a fairly easy one to read, although it looks complex. I might actually start you there. I might have you use the belt idea or Every Good Boy to find that B. Locate that scale. Having used that scale, you can use that to come back here and identify these. and then you can compare the A note. There's a couple of things I've forgotten to label here. I'm going to take a second to do that. One of them was the label on the aforementioned G7 chord, and one is my second ending. So looking at your rudiments one more time, we're playing music on a musical staff. That's your 5 lines. Every good boy deserves fudge. Surrounding the spaces, F-A-C-E. We have our treble clef. It's the G clef that fixes the G on this middle line. 4/4 time. That means in every bar we're counting 4 beats, and we're counting quarter notes as the beat. We've taken that for granted so far, but this actually tells you that. This is like saying 4 quarter notes in a bar. If you thought of your fractions, this is 4/4 or 4 quarter notes. So there are our 4 quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That half note gets half the bar itself, so it gets beats 3 and 4. 4 more quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. The whole note gets a whole bar, all 4 beats. Down at the end, we see our repeat sign at the very end. That's the double dots. They're almost like arrows. They're pointing you back to the beginning of the song. And those last 2 bars there are under an ending 1. So the first time through, we play ending 1, hit the repeat and start again. The next time you don't play ending 1, you jump to ending 2. So your job would be, as we have just done, look at all of those details. Get your time signature, practice a count, and practice naming the notes. Then as you play, you can name them. E, D, C, back up to E. If you had to, you could stop and practice that a few times and get it. I don't want to memorize, as I've said, but I want to come very close so that while you're reading these notes, you can be looking ahead. That's one practice you should be working on, is reading ahead, and this would be a great song to do it in. While you're sitting there playing those E's, you've already identified that they're all E's. So you don't need your eyes sitting there right on every E. E, 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 E. Oh my gosh, what's next? A D? Okay. While I'm playing my 4 E's, I'm looking ahead and recognizing the D's. When I'm playing them, I see the C's, and then that long E. So while I'm on this E, I'm counting to 4. I will actually watch students' eyes, and you'll see many of them staring at that E. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they jump to look at the A's and figure them out. You don't want to do that. While you're holding that E for an entire bar, you should be looking ahead and figuring out the next bar. From practice, it's not like you're rereading that note. You're just glancing ahead and going, oh yes, there's that bar with A's. I know the A's are going to go down to G. You may want to do a little memory work there because it is a little more active. A's down to G's and then a leap to C. So you may practice that a few times, G to C. Mark that maybe in your book or on your music. Put a highlight around the C so that you know that jump is coming. After the C, while you're holding it, you can see that you're just stepping down one scale step, which in this case is actually a half tone, a semitone or a half step, and counting up the scale from B. You hit the repeat on that long whole note, so you got a long time to look back here. Even while your eyes scan the music, you're still counting. So when I hit that D note, I'll see it. D, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm back on the E's at the beginning of the line. So here I'll play through it once nice and slow for you, and then I'll accompany it. 1, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, C's. I already know there's an E coming. While I'm holding it and counting, I'm thinking of that A. I know there's G's that jump to a C, and then up the scale from B. While I hold the D, 2, 3, I'm back to the E's. D's. This is how your brain would be thinking. C's. Jumping to the E. Dropping down to the A, which has the G's and C following. Ending 2. D, C, D, E, C. You maybe hadn't practiced that one yet and got caught by surprise. There's a nice little sequence there. We have D, down to a space, down the C, back up to D, then up. So we got D, down to C, D, up to E. So I always look for little patterns like that we can talk about. D, C, D, E. Something that comes off the tongue nicely so that you can hear the rhythms in it. You can practice the chords over this song. One more detail about the chords. You'll see it's broken into 4-bar segments again. So we've got C, G7, A minor, resolving to a C. New section with the F. It's brighter and up. C. The D7 again. Is that a key? attention to G7 back to C. The reason I've used the repeat is this 4-bar section is the same again. On that line I have that lift to the F and the C. In ending 2 though, we're trying to wrap things up with a faster turnaround, so the D gets 2 beats in that bar, G7, 2, and C. We may have seen that elsewhere. I don't recall if we've seen where we have to change chords in 1 bar, but if they've spaced them well, you should recognize that each chord's getting half the bar, 2 beats each. D7, G7, C. One strategy we haven't spoken of yet is if you're having trouble keeping up, but you still want to practice your chords, you don't have to hit all 4 strums. You could hit 1 strum and count to 4. While you're on that chord, be fully planning your next chord. Don't be caught by surprise. So I'm on C. As I count to 4, I plan the G7. I plan the A minor after it. And I'm back to C. Nice little move with 1 finger. Squish down to F. Back to C. There's a pivot off the D minor that we know, and then the G7. Maybe you have to survive with your baby chord instead of your big one. Repeat. C for 4, G7 for 4, A minor for 4, C for 4. The song lifts to the F again, to C, to the fast turnaround. I'm trying to get back to the C earlier. At the repeat, I ended on a G7. That's the 5 chord for C. It's a very tense chord. Holds for a bar and sends you back to this first C. At the end, I want to end on my C. That's why we have to jam things in a little bit. Instead of a bar of D7, a bar of G7, and then repeating back on a C. This is going D7, G7, C, with C being the ending. You don't have to end on that 1 beat the way I like to do. I like to strum with that chord. You can strum through the entire bar and end in the next bar. So let's have a play through this. I'll try to do a melody and chord again so that whichever job you're doing, you can hear me doing the other job as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, C chord, G7, A minor chord, C chord, F chord, C chord, D7, G7, back to the first C, G7, A minor to C, F's, C, D7 in ending 2, back to the top, E notes, D notes, A minor with the C notes, C with an E note, A's in the F chord, D7, repeat, ending 2, a little quicker. One more time. I switched to a pick there for the last time through just so you could hear that, and that should be it for now. Have yourself a very Merry Christmas, and hopefully we can catch up before the new year and get Old Lang Syne going. Talk to you guys later. Bye.